Hello everyone, in today's video we're going to take a look at Divi's image modules. We're going to cover how to set it up and how you can use it creatively in your web design projects. Today's episode is made possible by divicake.com. Check out the huge selection of Divi themes, layouts and plugins. The link to that is in the description below. And also, if you want to learn how to design websites using WordPress and Divi, I have a resource on MakUniversity.com. There's tutorials, lessons, live shows, and also courses. So check out MakUniversity.com. All right, so without wasting a lot of time, let's dive in and let's get started. So let's start by creating a new page. So I'm going to come over here to Pages, click on Add New, and then I'm just going to call this Image Module. Right, so this image module can be used on existing pages, brand new pages, and so on. So you don't have to really use it on any specific scenario. So you can also use it on pre-made layouts. So in this example, we're just going to come over here to Build from Scratch. And then I'm just going to close this for now. Right, so right now I'm in the new back-end builder, but you can also add this image module also on the front-end builder, which is the visual builder. So either way, it works the same. So for this example here, let's use the front-end builder. So I'm going to come over here. In fact, before I do that, I'm just going to publish this page, and then I'm going to build this from the front. So one more time, we need to click on Build from Scratch. All right, so what we're going to do here is let's have two columns. And then here, we're just going to search for the module. So what I normally do, instead of trying to look for my image module here, I just type the first few letters. So I'm just going to type IM. And then you can see here, it narrows everything down. And now I have my image module. So I'm going to go ahead and select it. So what happens here is when you select this image module, it shows up here by default with this placeholder image. Okay, so in fact, let me snap this to the left. Right, so this just gives you an idea of what space your image is going to take. So let's go in and add our image. So to add our image, you just need to click anywhere over here like that. And this takes you to the media library. So this is where now you can go to specific images that you want to choose. Now, if you don't have any images in your media library, you can always come here, click on Upload Files, and then navigate to the folder on your computer, which has those images. Right, so what we're going to do here is we're just going to choose an image that we're going to use for this example. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here and use this image here, and then I'm going to click Upload an Image. So you can see right away my image has been added on. The next stage now is let's see what we can do once we've uploaded this image. So first of all, to add your effects, you're gonna have to come here to Design, and then we can start choosing what we can add to this. So first of all, I'm going to come over here to border. So let's say you want to add rounded corners onto your image. You can always come here to border, and then you can add your rounded corners. So let's say 10. And notice that as soon as I add 10, this is applied to all the corners. But if you want to apply this to single corners, you have to break this chain first and then enter your values manually. So if I say 0, you'll notice here that now we don't have that 10 on the rounded corner on the right. Okay, so I'm just going to add my 10 back. Right, so next, let's say you want to add borders. So this is where you can come over here. Right now, no borders have been selected. So in order for you to choose a border that you want to use, you have to first select it. So for this example here, I'm just going to get rid of my rounded corners because borders look much better without these rounded corners. So let's say I want to add my border to the top. All I have to do is to click here, and you can notice here that there's also a line on the top around this dotted rectangle. So if I click here, now it looks like nothing has happened, of course, because we haven't added a border width. So if I do that here, you notice that now we have a border right there at the top. Okay. Over here on the bottom, you can add a border color. So now you can see here, I've added the green, I can add it red. And if you want to add a specific color, all you have to do is to click on this eyedropper tool. Okay, and then you can choose the color you need to add. So that's with the borders. And also, let's say you want to add the border to all sides. You just select here, you drag your slider like that, and specify how thick you want it to be. And then you can, add your color in there. But of course, you can see here that we still have the top one. So we do need to get rid of what I've done there on the top in order for us to have this all sides. And also, if you want to have the borders on each and every side, all you have to do is to, first of all, I'm going to select this and remove the borders. And then I'm going to come, let's say I'm going to add to the left. All I have to do now is to increase my border on the left here, give it a color, and that's how I add my border to the left. Okay, so that's it right now for the borders. Let's see what else we can do. So if I scroll down here, we can also add our shadows. So if I click here, notice that there's several ways we can add different types of shadows. So I'm going to start with this one here. It's very subtle and you can't really see it, but I've added it there. And then on the bottom here, this is where you can make your adjustments. You can see here, this is my horizontal position, and over here is my vertical position. Okay, and then over here is the blur strength. Okay, so if we drag it all the way to the left to 0, you can see now you have a solid line, but you can readjust this by just dragging your sliders here, and now you can see, how it's working. Okay, and if you want to get rid of that, you can just click on this button here. And let's say you want to choose a different style. So I can go with that by just clicking here. And now we have a different style. And also, if you want to change your colors, all you have to do is to come over here to the shadow color and then choose your colors here like that. If you want to add a specific color, again, you just have to click this eyedropper tool and then select your color. Right. So the next thing we need to do here is to come over here to the filters. But before I do that, I just want to make sure I get rid of these shadows. So we're going to come over here to filters. So this is where now you can get really creative and play around with different filters. So first of all, let's do a filter based on the sepia tone. So if I drag this, you can see here that my image has now changed to a sepia tone. And here is where on the slider, this is where you can play around with the amount that you want to add onto the image. And then over here, if you have an image that's slightly off and you want to make some minor adjustments, you can add your contrast just by dragging like that. And you can see here in the image that the contrast is actually changing. So let's say you want to make your image black and white. All you have to do is to lower your saturation all the way down like that. Over here, you also have your option for hues. But of course, the hues work when you have a bit of saturation. So you can see here that as I'm playing with this, it's playing around, it's changing my hues. Okay, so you can actually play around with this and really get really creative. And then over here, you also have this blur feature, which is brilliant. So what you can also do is, let's say you've made some changes and you're not happy with it. All you have to do is to click on this little icon here, and that will just restore all the settings. Okay. Now, let me show you something else which I think is very, very important when you use images. So let's say you want to add a hover effect. Okay, so all you have to do is to choose whatever filter it is. And by the way, these hover effects are everywhere. I mean, you can find them on the fonts, you can find them on the spacing, borders, they're everywhere. But in this example, I'm just going to show you one example, and then you can apply that same principle throughout all your images. So let's say I want my image to first show as a black and white image and then add color to it when someone adds a mouse over it. So what you do is you come over here on this arrow. Okay, so first of all, you have to mouse over it. In fact, let's go back here. You mouse over it, and then you get this arrow, you click on it, and now you notice that you have two tabs, right? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to click here on the default, drag this all the way down to black and white. On the hover, I'm going to bring this to 100%. Right, so what's happening now? In fact, I've just switched between the two. You can see here that as I do that, it's changing between black and white. So these are the two hover states. Now, what you can also do is you can come over here to animation. Now, you can animate this in several ways. You can scale this, you can zoom. So let's say we want to add a bit of zoom here. So if I click here on zoom, notice what happens. And then here, you can also adjust and add specific time delays, animation duration, and so on. So I thought I'll just show you this quickly because this is also something that you can use creatively. So we have quite a lot of features here. We can also flip, fold, we can roll, bounce, slide, and fade. So there's several ways you can play around with animation styles here. Okay, so now going back over here to the top. So let's say you want to add a specific size to this. What you need to do is to come over here to sizing, and then you have the width here. So you can specify the width by just dragging this. And right now I'm on 72, and then I can center it if I need to. So that looks really, really nice. I can also force full width. So if this was the only image without this column here, this would actually go full width, but we're not going to do that. Okay. And also we have spacing options here. We can add margins to the top just by dragging this slider here. And if you want to add both to the top and the bottom, you can just use these, activate the chain, and that will be applied to both top and bottom. And then over here as well, you can also add some padding. So you can specifically go in and make all these minor adjustments and make this look the way you want. Now over here on the top, we also have alignment. So you can center this, and on mobile, you can also specify to center this on mobile, which is always a good idea because you have a vertical screen. Right, so now that we've gone through all these features that we can play around with on all these settings, we also have the advanced tab. So over here, this is where you can add your custom CSS to the main element, before, after, and so on. So this is a bit more advanced, but the option is there for you to go in and make those specific changes. And then back over here on the content as well, you can actually link this whole image. So if you come over here to link, you can actually make this open in a lightbox, which is really, really cool. So you can open this in a lightbox when someone clicks on it. And then you can also, and if you don't want this to open in a lightbox, you can say no and then add a specific URL. So let's say I'm going to link this to MacUniversity.com. I can just specify my link in here, and that's all I need to do. Now I can click on Save Changes, and notice that now it's gone to that black and white that we have here. So to see the preview of that, all you have to do now is to save and then exit the Visual Builder. So when I mouse over here, you can see now there's color. So these are the subtle things that you can actually add to make your website very, very creative. And remember, we linked this image to MacUniversity.com. Let's see what happens when we click on it. So I'm going to click here, and now it's going to take us over to MacUniversity.com. So this is how the image module works. So there you have it. Thank you all for watching. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, and do also follow me on my social media platforms. By doing so, you'll be notified when I release new tutorials. And I'll also link all these social media platforms in my video description below. Until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.